So if you're a small business owner and you are looking to grow your business and get more leads with your marketing, where do you even get started? What's the first thing that you need to do, and what do you need to have in place to make sure that you are set up to win? Well, in this episode, I'm actually going to be sharing a presentation that I gave at a seminar where I walked small business owners through the 3 things they must have in their marketing. They want to stand out online, get more leads, and be seen as the industry leader. Welcome to Marketing Domination. This is our 3 steps that you need for small business marketing domination. The first thing that you need is you need to build a sales funnel. The second thing that you need is you need to then fill that sales funnel. And then the third thing that you need to do is you need to optimize your sales funnel. So the whole point of what I believe is the foundation for your marketing is the concept of a sales funnel. Have you guys ever heard sales funnels or funnels before? Anybody with their market? Okay, perfect. I have a different definition of what I believe that is. So a lot of times if you've heard the phrase sales funnel or funnels, you're probably thinking about a software tool like a ClickFunnels or tools like High Level and everything. Those are tools. Or maybe it's a website type where, well, they go to a website or a landing page and they only have one action that they can take. That term is used for funnels, but whenever I tell small business owners they need a sales funnel, what it is that is more of a systematic relationship building process that takes someone from not knowing who you are to buying from you to a dream superfan customer for life. So it can be done through tools and technology, but it is a marketing strategy of how you take somebody who doesn't know you exist to wanting them to be your superfan customer for life. So with your sales funnel, I want to give you guys first all the parts of what I think makes a really good sales funnel. So the first thing with your sales funnel and the foundation for everything that you do, and we've talked about it here so far, is you need branding. And so we had an amazing talk with Scott yesterday about what your brand is. I think the branding really comes down from a marketing standpoint to 2 different aspects. One is the visual aspect. So that is going to be things like brands, colors, fonts, logos, the things that you can visually see. But one often, and I think probably the most misunderstood part with branding with small business owners is the words that we use, our messaging. So with my marketing background, I come from a world called StoryBrand. I'm a certified StoryBrand guide. So we like to use storytelling to invite customers into a story that positions our product and service as a proper guide for these customers. And the story is about them. A lot of people are construed what storytelling marketing is, and they think it's about telling their story. No, I think the best way to, if you were to boil it down, what StoryBrand and story-based marketing is it's honestly service-based marketing. It's making it about your customer, and it's positioning your products and services as the proper solution to guide them to getting the results. Not about, the Ron Burgundy, hey, everyone, come see how good I look. It's not about you. It's about your customers, and you're there to guide them. So with the messaging aspect, we like to follow the StoryBrand framework. So with that, there's 7 different parts of this framework. And I'm going to share my slide over here. If you guys are unfamiliar with the StoryBrand concept, perfect. There we go. So the StoryBrand framework, it has these 7 different parts to it. So the first thing is the character. So the character is not you. The character is not even the demographics of the people that you want to work with. The character section is the feelings and the thing that your customers want. I was in the fitness industry for about 12 years. We owned a lot of gyms, was a writer and fitness advisor for Men's Health Magazine, did a lot of stuff in the online fitness space and everything. Guess what? Nobody wants a personal trainer. I'm very sorry. Nobody wants a gym. They want to look better. They want confidence. They want to like what they see in the mirror. That's what customers actually want. But too often in our marketing and in our messaging, businesses are focusing on their products and services, and they're trying to force that down people's throat instead of focusing on what the customer actually wants. Nobody wants a lawyer. Sorry. They want confidence that their business is legally protected. They want those things. And in our messaging that we're creating for our customers, we want to make sure that we're talking about the things that they actually want. Well, the second thing is, though, there's a problem that's keeping them from getting what they want. That problem is broken down into 3 different levels: the external, internal, and philosophical. The external problem is the main thing that the customers are dealing with. What is keeping them from getting what they actually want? The second part of that problem, as you get deeper with each one of these levels, it gets you even closer to your customer. So the second aspect of your problem is the internal problem.
How does dealing with that problem make them feel? The more that you can get to those feeler words, that's where you really start attracting your dream customers. And they're reading your messaging and like, wow, man, why does it sound like Scott's speaking directly to me? Well, it's because we're using those feeler emotional words of the fear and anxiety of wondering if your business is legally protected. We want to use those things to attract our customers that we're working with. And then the third thing, this is as you get deeper with these layers of problems, you take somebody from external is like, okay, they could help me. Internal problem is like, okay, I really like them. When you nail this last section, which is the philosophical problem, that's where the person is like shouting from the rooftop, like, man, that's my guy, that's my girl, they get me. The philosophical problem is why it's just inherently morally wrong that your customers have to deal with this. Whenever you can articulate that in your customers' words and the conversations that they're having inside of their heads, that's whenever you take somebody that's interested in your product and service to wanting to be that super fan customer for life. So after we've done that, do you notice how in our marketing messaging, we haven't even talked about ourselves yet? Because it's all about the customer. But we finally get to talk about ourselves a little bit right here. Is we want to position ourselves as the proper guide for our customer. We do that with two things. We do that with empathy and authority. Empathy is, I understand you. I know what it's like to be in your shoes. Authority is, hey, and I've actually solved this problem for other people just like you. A good example of, I come from the fitness industry, so I use lots of fitness examples. So somebody that lacks this with empathy would be, imagine going to a personal trainer and you're sitting down doing the assessment with them. They're talking about their goals like, man, I'm really struggling because each night I just get these cravings for ice cream and, it's really holding me back from reaching my goals. And the personal trainer's like, man, I actually feel the same exact way. And, there's actually a really good ice cream place right next to it. Do you want to go get it right now? Like, amazing empathy. They understood what it's like, but they had zero authority to actually solve that problem. On the flip side, you could overdo the authority and have no empathy. Imagine telling the same scenario to a personal trainer, struggling with eating the ice cream, and he's like, man, you just got to suck it up. You got to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice out of Tupperware. You got to go out there and crush it. You're just weak, mentally focused. Like, tons of authority, probably looks amazing, but zero empathy. What we want is that good balance of empathy and authority. We want to show our customers, man, you know what? I used to struggle with that exact same thing. And it wasn't until I found a system that helped me to curb those sugar cravings that I was able to get results for myself. And, not only did it work for me, but it's also worked for these dozens of other clients that I've worked with. That's how we want to position ourselves as the guide while balancing that empathy and authority with what we do. Well, after we've done that with our customers, now we have the opportunity to give them a plan. Customers want to be clearly guided with exactly what they need to do business with you. The more confusing we make our marketing and our messaging, the more we're going to lose. In the StoryBrand, they have a saying that says, if you confuse, you lose. Clarity is key with everything that we do. We want to give our customers a simple 3-step plan of what they need to do business with us so they know the next phase of the process. It needs to be, step 1, book your appointment. Step 2, we create you a custom plan. Step 3, experience, success or results, whatever that may be. But we want to be very clear with it. And it's not that our customers are stupid. They're ignorant. They don't know your business, right? This is your baby. This is the thing that you created. And so we want to make it really, really clear for them what they need to do so they can get this amazing result and this problem solved that we've talked to them about. Well, after we give them a plan, we need to call them to action. So most people are not going to do something unless they are called to action. With our calls to action, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. It needs to be clear and direct. Tell customers exactly what they need to do so they can get their problem solved. Schedule your call, book your appointment, book your service, call now. We don't want to say vague, elusive language like discover how we can help. Learn more. Nobody wants to learn more. They want the problem solved, especially if we've done this stuff so far and we positioned ourselves as the proper guide for them. With calls to action, sub-point on that, we can have what's called a transitional call to action. So I'm going to show you guys some website examples here in just a second. Not everybody that comes to your website is going to be ready to buy your product and service. So we have something that's called a transitional call to action. What that is a lead generator. So that's going to be something to where maybe they're not ready to fully commit, buy your product or service, schedule your appointment with you, but they need something where it's that kind of like half step to where they can get a little bit more engaged with you and discover how you could help them. So we're going to have some type of guide that we would create for them, mini course or something like that. And we do all of that because we're trying to do two things. We're trying to help them avoid failure and experience success. So we want to remind our customers, we're not fear-mongering here, but we want to remind customers of all the problems we're helping them avoid, because a lot of times, unfortunately, people live in a state of mediocrity. They think that it really can't get that much worse, but it also really can't get that much better. So we do have to remind our customers what's at stake and the failure that they may continue to experience if they don't do business with us. And then the opposite is success, because they don't really think their situation could get that much better. We want to tell them about all the amazing things that could happen if they do buy your product or service. When we're creating this with our marketing messaging, we want to think about it like baking a loaf of bread, right? So we got tons of flour in a loaf of bread and a little bit of salt. The flour is the success. We want lots of that. We want to overdo the success. We want to tell them short-term and long-term all the amazing things that are going to happen if they work with us. But we want just a sprinkle of the failure, sprinkle of the salt. We don't want a crazy fear-monger like, oh, if you don't buy our online personal training service, man, you're going to gain 100 pounds. Your wife's going to leave you. You're going to die a heart attack alone. Like, that's so big and so like fear-mongering. You're just going to turn people off. We want to have just a little sprinkle and just kind of remind them of the current pain that they're dealing with. That right there is our messaging part of our brand. And too often, small businesses are not focusing on that. They hire an amazing graphic designer that's creating all the branding and making things look beautiful, but then they're completely neglecting the words that are actually on their website. So after we have all of this stuff, we have the first foundation of all of our marketing material. We have our brand. We have our visual identity, colors, fonts, all of that stuff is super important. We now have the words that we're going to be used, because just like whenever we're creating promotional materials, we want all of our visual branding to look the same. We want all of the words to be the same. So we don't want just our marketing messaging, our website, social profiles and stuff like that to be using the right words, and our sales team and our staff members, our front desk people not using them. The point of this is to create the brand message so everybody in the company is using the exact same language. When the owner answers the phone call, should it be the exact same way as the service guy is answering the call and responds to what you guys do. So that way there's no unbranding with the words that you do. So after we have that, we are ready to build our website. That's the most common thing people think of when they're thinking about their sales funnel, is the visual part of the actual website. There are 10 parts to what I think makes a really good homepage or landing page on your website. Only going to go over one because of time, but it's the most important one, and it's called your header section. So your header section is the top part of your website. So whenever you think about going to, let's just share all this stuff. Let's be real here. We'll show you all the, this is kind of going to be like, this is going to be my goal for what's going to happen today, if I'm being super honest. I'm like the magician's assistant, and I'm going to show you how all the magic tricks are done, because it looks like, whoa, that's way overwhelming, and there's all these parts to it. But once you learn how like the magic show is actually done, you're like, oh, that's it. That's kind of what I'm going to do with a lot of stuff today. So with your website, the header section is the most important part of your website. That is the part whenever people first land on your website, and it needs to do three things. If it doesn't do these three things, I'll be honest, you are losing and wasting a lot of money right now. So the very first thing that it needs to do is it needs to clearly answer the question, what do you do? The second thing that it needs to do is it needs to show how you help people. So what do you do? How do you help people and make their life better? And the third thing is, what do they need to do to get it? I promise you, if your website most likely is not as clear as you think that it is. If you have a very vague call to action, like I said, learn more, discover more, contact us, you are losing money and opportunities. It needs to be very clear about what you want customers to do. Book a call, schedule your appointment, book your assessment. We want to tell them, invest with us. We want to be very clear on what we want those customers to do. There is some structure about how I think that it should be done. And so if you're a very visual person, which I am, I wanted to click through and show you a few examples. Hey, I know this guy. So right here, what do they do? Man, they're going to help, or how are they going to help you? They're going to help you grow your business and dominate your industry. How do they do it? Man, they're a marketing agency that builds, fills, and optimizes sales funnels to get you more leads and sales. What do I need to do business with these guys? Man, I should probably schedule a call. He looks goofy, but he's nice. Okay, the next thing right here. Okay, well, I've got a ton. I've got a ton. Okay, next, I haven't even had the second Celsius yet. So, okay, The next right here, here's another example. This is the medical practice that we own right here. So how do they help you? They help you to get back to feeling and performing your best. What do? They're a telemedicine practice specializing in hormone replacement and functional medicine. What do I need to do? I need to get started. I will tell you this. Data always wins. We don't make decisions based upon personal preference or emotion. So even though the things that I'm saying right now are big, broad, it's not the Bible. There's only one ultimate truth. This is not it. So one of the things that I said earlier was having a very clear, direct call to action. We split tested, and this is why we make decisions with data. We split tested, book your appointment versus get started. Get started crushed it for this particular business dramatically. This medical practice of ours is on like a 3-month waiting list. It's amazing. So that's why you always want to test things. The other thing right here is this business right here. How do they help you? You're going to know exactly how much your home is worth. What do? They're Tulsa real estate appraisers and home inspectors to give you peace of mind. You're getting the best deal. What do you need to do? You need to schedule your service. You can kind of start to see a theme here. So there's a certain layout that we want with all of these websites. So whenever people view a website, they view it in a Z pattern. So the most important section right here is in the top right. So the top left is where we typically put our logo. Then people are going to scan it right here, and they're going to come to the middle, and then they're going to come right here across the bottom. So that's how people's eyes naturally scan your website. So as we're doing it, the most valuable thing, if you could do anything right now, you don't have to be a web designer to do this. You could do this and start making more money from your website. Change your call to action to be very clear and direct. Put one in your top right and one in the center of your page. Just make that one simple change, and the web traffic that you have, you're instantly going to start getting more calls and appointments booked if you just did that one thing right here. This one. So then this takes them to this again, very different, unique business. This helps them to start their patient portal because we have a lot of HIPAA compliant stuff that we have to stay compliant with. Yeah. So that's where, again, every business is nuanced. We've got all this stuff for reasons. So right here, I'm going to show you guys just a few quick examples. So how do they help you? Man, they're going to give you a new level of with Owasa's IV Therapy and Wellness Spa. Book your appointment. We talked about syndicated investments right here. This seems pretty clear to me. How are they going to help you win? Man, they're going to help you build a legacy of wealth with syndicated investments. They're going to help you build financial independence through passive income investment opportunities. What do we want them to do? We want them to invest with us. In the fitness industry, I still work with lots of fitness clients. So Magnus has a fitness app that we work with him on. And so how does he help you? Man, he's going to help you look better, shred fat, and build lean muscle. He's got a training app that gives you the tools and knowledge to take charge of your health. What do we want him to do? We want them to start the 7-day free trial. Couple last examples right here, guys. Here's another business coach that we work with. Again, build a stronger, more profitable business. It's expert coaching to gain control, free up your time, and create lasting wealth. What do we want them to do? They right now are in a lead gen phase, so all they were trying to get people to do is take this free business assessment that they have. The fitness facility that we work with, and you guys can see, I'll say this, these websites look the same, and it's not because they're copy and paste templates, they're frameworks. So it's the structure that we use. It's not the exact same website because, again, if you know a floor plan is really good, why change the floor plan? And so how people visually structuralize a website, like I said, there's 10 sections that we need. This header sections, I think they all should look pretty similar, if I'm being honest. Another syndicated investment firm that we work with, online training for people over 40. How are they going to help you reboot your wellness? One-on-one online fitness and nutrition coaching to help you look and feel your best. You guys can see they're clear. It's very clear. All of these websites, you can quickly know, what do you do? How do you help my life and make it better? What I need to do to get it. Question to ask yourself, how clear is your website? You probably think it's a lot better than what it really is, if I'm being honest. What we always tell people to do is do like a coffee shop test. Show your website to somebody, have them look at it for 5 seconds, and then that doesn't know you, and then ask them those 3 questions. What do you think I do? How would I help you? And what would you need to do to get it? If they can't answer those questions, you are losing money. You do a ton of work. We're going to get to the next phase here in just a second about filling your sales funnel and sending traffic and sending prospective customers to it. If you have a bucket full of holes and you're trying to pour it full of water, why are you wasting money on paid ads, SEO, content strategy and stuff and trying to add water to the bucket if it has all these holes in it? Make sure your bucket is solid before you try to fill it with a bunch of water. I will show you guys this because I know if you guys, random client, I didn't think this was a thing, but everything's a thing. Men's breakup coach. right there. Yeah, that's a thing, right? Navigate the turbulence of a breakup. Wingman coaching program guides you to rediscover confidence and land your dream life. That's a thing. That's a thing. And it's very clear what we want them to do. Okay, so we talked about branding. This is, again, on the visual branding side. We always want to make sure logos, colors, and fonts, all of that stuff is consistent with what we do. You guys want to take a bunch of screenshots really quick? I'll show you some stuff. So right here, this is on the header section. Like I said, we like to use frameworks, not templates. So on these header sections, there's really only 3 ways that you can design a header section of a website. The first way right here, and this is where, again, it's like once you see the magic trick, every website is going to look the same. Like whenever I look at a website now, to me, it is kind of like a black and white skeleton. So in essence, you've got these 3 options. Text on the left, image on the right, text centered, image centered with typically a video in the background, image on the left, text on the right. Well, that's it. So don't overthink it all. You're probably trying to make it too complicated. Yes. Oh, shoot. That's what we were talking about earlier. Is this header section, if there's 10 sections of a website, this part right here, out of the 10, this is 80% of your time, effort, money, everything. Make this section gold, because if you have to do what I call earn the scroll. When somebody opens up your website, if they don't want to scroll down and learn more, again, you're losing money. That's why the majority of your focus when designing your website and making sure it's awesome, people always want to flood it with headshots and all about them, their company story, oh, this was founded by my great-great-grandfather. Customers don't really care about that stuff. Be really, really clear on what do you do, how you help them win, and what do they need to do to get it. Spend your time right there, and we make a lot more money. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So that's where whenever it is mobile, we still want to make it mobile responsive. So typically I'll do is what's called a hamburger icon. So we'll make it to where there's not a huge menu bar. So on a mobile site, what that would look like, it would be logo, the little hamburger icon. And whenever they click on that and it shows the menu, we would want to set that up in a way to where the call to action is colorful and it doesn't look like all of the other menu links that's on there. But then the same thing, that text should be same principles. What do you do? How do you make my life better? And then the main call to action is on the center screen. You should see that before you have to scroll on mobile. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good. Cool. All right. Questions over that so far, guys? Oh, I told you I don't want to lie to you guys. Okay. Here's the 10 sections really quick. Are you guys ready to snap some pictures? Okay. Second section is the value stack. This is just going to be 3 benefits of what you guys actually do to help the customer. So this is the next section that we're going to have is the stakes section. We talked about the failure with our messaging. On our website, the reason why it's set up this way is because just like the words that we use guide customers on a journey that position our products and services as the proper guide for them, the website should do that exact same thing. With these 10 sections, they're Lego blocks. The header has to be at the top. The footer has to be at the bottom, but you can mix and match these other places in any order that you want. So don't feel like you have to follow this order. We typically do, but for the most part, you got your header, you got your footer, everything else, mix and match as it makes sense. So the stakes section, remember, we want to remind them of the problem that they're dealing with. The next thing that we want to have on our website, we want to have a section that shows our value proposition. So the whole point of this section is to show the value that you can provide for them. This is typically where you would think of listing the main services that you offer for customers. Then we want to have one part on the website, which is our guide section. So remember, as a guide, we want to demonstrate empathy and authority. So this is where we're going to have a little blurb where it's like, hey, we understand what it's like to deal with X. And then here's 3 testimonial stories of people that we've helped. Side note on testimonial stories. You want the testimonial to be as specific as possible. You don't want it to be, Scott's a really nice guy. You want it to be, I was going through this lawsuit and Scott helped me protect my business. Man, I was dealing with this contract I was getting taken advantage of. Scott gave me the clarity needed to make sure that my business was protected. You want it to be a specific result that person has helped you with. Not just, hey, they're really, really nice. We want to show the actual results that you're being able to get people. The next section on our website is, if it makes sense, this is where we would have our pricing and our packages. So have the different ways that we do it. Maybe it's like, using the gym example, it's, group fitness, personal training, and there's a regular gym membership. Show the different ways that we can help them that way. Then remember, we want to have our plan. We love a good 3-step plan. So we want to show them those 3 steps that they need to do to join the gym, get their taxes done, get legally protected, show them what they need to do in order to do that. I'm a big SEO guy. We're going to talk a lot about SEO in the afternoon session today. So there is on these websites, it's minimal, on these landing pages following the StoryBrand framework, it's typically minimal text. So where we get some things for the SEO sake, for hitting copy numbers and stuff, we have a section that's called the explanatory paragraph. So if you feel like you want to share your story and talk a whole lot about yourself and get those keywords in there, we typically use this on something that's called the explanatory paragraph, and we typically put it at the bottom of the page. The next section of the home page that we would do is we would have that lead magnet section. So that's that transitional call to action that we talked about. We're going to want to have something on that home page that positions ourselves as an expert, has a really clear and catchy title, gets them a quick win that they can get in exchange for their contact information. Typically, we're getting an email address or a phone number so we can follow up with those people. That would be potential leads for us. Then there's a couple of sections those sections are required. There's a couple that I think that would be nice to add if you could. One would be a video. I think it's really great, especially in today's world to where everything is video based. We want to, and especially if you have a service based business, people want to connect with the person that they're doing business with. So we want to make sure that we're showcasing ourselves, what it's like to work with us, who we are, and again, how we help them win. Adding that FAQ section, that's really helpful, especially with search engine optimization. So now with how Google's AI is actually working, if you guys have started to search for things recently, maybe you've noticed that you don't see the search results first. You start to see like almost a Google Gemini answer to it. Well, that's typically pulling from home pages on the websites and stuff. Where it's getting a lot of the information is FAQ sections. So if you're able to do that on Google's Gemini results, whenever it shows it, it will give the answer and it'll show the source where it comes from. FAQ sections on home pages that are answering those questions are where the traffic's getting funneled to. So it's a really great thing to add to, especially lately. And then we also have like if you have a blog, podcast, or anything, we always recommend putting that on the home page so we can connect with people and again, show them how we do it. And then the bottom is your footer. So we call that your junk drawer. So anything you think you need to have on your website, links to the About Us section, all of that stuff. We want to put this down here at the bottom of the page because on the top of the page, on this header section here, we want it to be very, very simple. Again, we test things, we make decisions based upon data, not personal preference or emotion. If you look at most of these header examples that we have right here, if you look at these example websites right here that we have that are performing very, very well, there's not like 1,000 different calls to action at the top. It's not our about section, our services, our blog, like our pocket. It doesn't have all of that stuff on there because we want to be very clear and direct. Remember, clarity always wins. We want to guide our customers on what they need to do in order to get results. So we want to make sure I can. So I showed you the sections. So now you guys can actually see what it looks like. So we went through all of the different headers that we talked about already. The next section that we have right here, this is that value stack right here. So we create a sales funnel, fill it with your dream customers, watch your business grow. Then right here is the stakes section, right? How much is bad marketing costing your small business? This, again, we want to create that empathy. Man, this probably makes you feel like, and do you guys feel frustrated that competitors in your industry appear to be growing and gaining recognition even though you have more knowledge and experience than them? Probably. So we talk about that in the stakes section. This right here, this is going to be our value proposition. So these are the different services that we offer. We do StoryBrand messaging, website design, sales funnel creation, email marketing, SEO, and then fractional CMO and marketing consulting. Then right here, we've got this empathy and authority section right here. This is a little bit about my story. It was very similar to JR, where I was in the fitness industry for a long time. I was working, 40 to 50 one-hour personal training sessions a week. And then one of my friends had a girlfriend that she was great at taking bikini pictures of herself and posting it online. She took a weekend certification, and the next month she was doing $30,000 a month with online training, had zero experience. That pissed me off. I'm sorry, it did. I had been doing this for over a decade. I had trained professional athletes, professional sports teams, done all of this stuff, got amazing results. But just because she was better at doing the marketing aspect and putting herself out there, she was doing better than I was online. So that's honestly what geared me to starting to do all of this stuff and led me down the journey that I am now, is that's not right. And you guys probably see this right now with your business. There's somebody in your industry that's making stupid TikTok dance videos that's getting more knowledge and recognition than you are, even though you've got decades of experience. That was so see how we're getting yeah. Talked about the messaging earlier. That's my philosophical statement. That's probably why we're all in the same room together as well. But I just don't think that's right. I think that the real business owners, the people that actually have value to provide people, should be dominating the industry. That's why we created this program, to do this kind of stuff. Then, like right here, you're the expert and you want to be seen as it. Then we have our testimonial section. Man, look at this guy. He's good. He looks like a model. We've got that. We've got some trust symbols of things. We're a SEMrush SEO agency. We've got some our work that we do with StoryBrand. Man, we get a really simple 3-step process. Man, if the customer's on this and that stuff seems interesting to them, what do they need to do? Man, they need to schedule a call. They're going to get their marketing game plan. They're going to execute and dominate. Then we got a video section right here on what they need to do to grow their business with a marketing plan that works. This right here is our different, the packaging and plan section that we have. And then we've got a lead generator. Right here, explanatory paragraph. We talked about that, getting that SEO copy in here. That's what this section is right here. Then the last section right here is the lead generator. We have lots of lead generators on our website. The main one that we're advertising right now is the Marketing Domination checklist. So people enter their email right there and they get a list of 7 things that they need to do to dominate their industry with their marketing. And then all the stuff down here, we put all the stuff in the junk drawer, is our footer section down here. We throw all those links in right there. Cool? Okay. That was just the second thing that we need for a sales funnel. We're still on step 1 here. So real quick, any questions over anything branding, visual, messaging, or website? Yes. On Google, we're going to talk about that this afternoon. You want all of them. For local SEO, getting as many Google reviews as possible is what it takes to dominate. For your actual website, I always tell clients we want at least 3 specific ones. You can have a ton on there, but I typically would keep the sweet spot between 3 and 9. You don't want so many to where they're not good or people are just scrolling and not getting any value. Have 3 specific awesome ones that you feature first, and you can put the rest in a scroller wheel. But if you are just trying to add some to like fluff up the numbers, customers don't need to see that. They need to see at least 2 to 3 really good, solid, specific ones. Remember, we want that with their testimonials. We don't want it to be, man, they were really nice to me. We want it to be, they got me this specific result in this specific amount of time. Yeah, that's what we want. So as specific as possible on those. Anything else? Okay, the next part of our sales funnel is, we talked about this a little bit, is we need that lead generator. With our lead generator, it means that you need to have something on your website that positions you as an expert, gives people a quick win, and has a clear and catchy title. The Marketing Domination checklist. 7 things that you need in your marketing so you can grow your business and dominate your industry. That sounds like it's a ton of value, because hopefully that it is, and all people need to do is they have to enter their email address. On your website, what part? When people are coming to your website, not all of them are going to be ready to purchase. Not all of them are going to be ready to purchase. So you need something on your website that positions you as an expert, has a clear, catchy title, and gives them a quick win. So it could be the bug assassin. It could be, 5 things that other companies use, or pest control companies use, that's actually harming your family, or what to avoid in what to look for in a pest control company. Something that would position you as the expert, give them a quick win, which in this case would be information, and then you capture that information. This is, again, I told you I'm going to show you how to do the magic tricks. We don't want to do any bait and switches. Most people, they over fear what they're putting inside of the guide for a couple of reasons. One, they try to make it absolutely perfect, and they're wasting all of this time trying to create the thing instead of just throwing something out there. The second thing is they're almost afraid of giving away too much value. Like, I don't want to give away all my best stuff because then people aren't going to want to hire me for the thing. I've not ever seen that to be the case. If you are overly serving people, also in the customer's mind, they're going to think, wow, if they're giving away this stuff for free, how much better is the paid stuff? So we always want to, again, because we're trying to do this to position ourselves as the expert. With this, the magic trick is not in the thing, it is in the follow-up of the thing. So the whole reason we're doing this is to capture the information. We're not just doing it so we can build up an email list. We're doing it because we're trying to get people that came to our website to kind of raise their hand and be like, I'm kind of interested in this, but I didn't quite book it yet. That's what we want, is we want this information because we want to plug them into the next step of our sales funnel, which is the follow-up. These things, these lead generators are great for identifying those people, but it will not help your business to have the thing. What helps your business is what you do after you capture the customer's information. Doesn't matter how amazing your lead generator is. If you don't have a follow-up process, you're not going to take advantage of having this tool on your website. Some lead generator examples that you could leverage is, to me, the easiest thing to do to get people started is doing some type of a guide. You guys have some information inside of your mind as being industry experts to where you could easily create some type of a checklist, getting started guide, a how-to guide, best practices that you can put together. You could have a graphic designer throw a pretty cover image and everything on it, and you could add it to your website. There's some tech things on the back end that you need, but even if you just had that thing made and you asked people like, hey, send me your email and I'll send you the guide, or DM me this and I'll send you the guide, you could still at least start collecting that lead information. Another one that we see works really well. It's a little bit more of an ask to build out are quizzes. So on this website, on this website right here, we have a hormone therapy quiz. So that way we have a male or female hormone therapy quiz. Quizzes are awesome. They work well. There's quiz softwares that you can get and everything that help with this. Like what type of what's your body type quiz is a popular one on the fitness industry. What type of whiskey is best for you? Like all of those different things. Again, tell you how a magic trick is really done. Quizzes are not as complicated as you think. Typically what you do is you come up with a series of questions that you're asking. As you guys go through your next online quiz that you take, you'll realize what they're doing to you. Most of the questions are just to capture information from you. And there's only one question in the quiz. Typically it's called a trigger question. And that just identifies which path you send somebody down. So it's not like you have to almost have this big grading scale to do all of this stuff. You're just asking a bunch of questions to capture information, because again, the whole point of this is to have a way that you could follow up with them. And then there's one or two trigger questions that, based upon how they answer that, is the response that you give them. So they do take a little bit extra work, but it's again, it's super easy. Or it's not super easy, it's super simple. The other thing that you can do is, this is a SaaS company, so he has a fitness app. For him, his lead generator he does have a nutrition guide that we give out, but if it's not a big ask, you don't have to worry about that as much. This is a free trial. So his main call to action requires no credit card. It just requires them to download an app. So with them, some of the businesses, they don't need to worry about that as much. With other things that we see work well for lead generators is if it's an e-commerce brand, or even certain services brands. We have an aesthetics company that we work with, like estheticians, Botox, Juvederm, all that kind of stuff. What we have them do is they'll give out discount codes. So if people aren't ready to book out for their first appointment, hey, if you give us your email address, you're going to get 10% off your first service. You'll see this on e-commerce brands all the time, right? If you own a t-shirt company, well, what lead generator could I do for that? Well, you're going to have things like, enter your email address for 25% off your first order. Yeah, you guys probably do that all the time. So now that you're kind of seeing how marketers think, now once you start going to websites, you're going to start looking at things differently, or you'll be like, oh, I see what they're doing to me now, and you kind of start catching on to these things. So another last one that I would say is really easy to do as far as a lead generator would be a video or a mini course. Because that's something that even if you don't have a graphic designer, everybody's got an iPhone, you can easily just create a video, upload it to YouTube, make it an unlisted video, so that way only people can view it with the link, and then make it to where whenever somebody gives you their email address, they just get sent that link. That would be the quickest. You guys could do that today type of a thing. Just share some helpful tips and everything, come up with a really cool title to the thing. Again, we don't want to bait and switch with people. We want to be a really clear and catchy title. We want to, on this deliverable that we give them, we want to give them a quick win, or the first step of the process. And the third thing, we want to position ourselves as the proper guide and expert for them. That's all it needs to do. Then once we have that information, the most important step and the last part of this sales funnel is we want to follow up with them. So remember, you've heard it all the time, the fortune's in the follow-up. It doesn't matter what you've done to collect the information. If you just let it sit on a server somewhere, it doesn't matter. The fortune is in the follow-up. So what we like to do is we like to put people typically through, depending on the business, typically it goes through a 5 to 6 email sequence. On those 5 to 6 emails, we deliver them out based upon the value of the service provided. So if it's something really expensive, we typically will slow pace those emails out. If it's something like a $15 a month fitness app, we're going to do those typically pretty quickly, because whenever people are doing this, they're more in an apt state to buy, so we want to hit them quickly. Yes?
You said on your website you have multiple funnel.
Yeah.
But I could create something very similar to.
Yes. So how I would do that. So on our website, you can see we cycle them out. So we might have one of our lead generator that's on the footer of the website, and then a different one might come up as a pop-up. The other thing that we might do is we might have one, we put them both like here in the footer section, so the links are always right there. But for what you're saying is if anybody here is from the nonprofit world, it would be a very similar situation to that, to where you'd almost want to think about having two different landing pages to send people to. Just like with a nonprofit, they're going to have like a client or customer facing page and then a donor facing page. Yeah. So it'd be different.
Like I have the employment tab.
Yes. Yeah. I would make your website, the primary homepage on your website, be customer focused though. Yeah. But this, like I said, I love frameworks and structures. So that 10 section framework that I showed you, that should be what you use for all of your landing pages. So that's the same structure format of the header should do the same thing. The value stakes, the stake section, all of those things should follow that same process for your employment page. Does that make sense? All right, then last thing that I'll say about all the follow-up stuff, text messaging and everything works amazing right now if you can capture that information, getting those text follow-ups. The most important thing that or the big thing I would say with this, I love automation. We got so many AI tools that we can use and leverage and everything. Don't just sit back and don't hold the automation accountable for your lack of effort. If you really want to close more deals and get more clients and service, the automation is a layer on top of it. It's not just sit back and I'm only going to get that done for you. That is in addition to your follow-up. It's to help you scale your time, but you still want to manually follow up with these people. Oh, especially if you're hungry, if you want your business to grow. There's a lot of unscalable things that I do that I have my clients do when leads come in. So I will tell you now, for example, whenever I have a lead come in, we have an app that gives us notifications. If I qualify people in my head based upon the emails that come through. So if somebody, I'm trying to work with small business owners. If I get a custom domain email sent to me, so if I had scott@reblaw.com and it is a custom business domain, I'm instantly going to Google that email address. I'm going to run it through our SEO tools. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to then manually follow up with a Loom video, like a 2-minute video, just saying, hey, I just saw your downloaded our Marketing Domination checklist. I wanted to show you just a few things on your website I really think that you could do to optimize it. And I'm just going to give them some free value just right there. It's going to take me a total of 3 minutes. And it's going to be that personal touch that sends it over the edge. I'm not going to just rely on automation to do everything for me. That is to help. It's not to take over. Now, and because we're also going to want to, we've talked about, we don't make decisions based upon personal preference or emotion. We make decisions based upon data. So we're going to be looking at all of this data based upon open rates, click-through rates, which emails are getting us booked where in the sequence, so we can go back there and tweak that follow-up process. Because if we're not doing the manual actions and we're just relying on the automation, well, then we're not going to actually know what's working and resonating with our customer. Does that make sense? Okay. How am I doing on time? Okay, perfect. We've got 3 steps, like I said, to building the sales funnel. That was 1. I'm sorry, 3 steps to the marketing domination. That's building the sales funnel. That was the longest. We talked a lot about it because that is the foundation. To me, you don't really have marketing until you have that. That is the foundation. All of those things. If I could add anything to you, please do not spend any money on paid ads, SEO, creating a ton of content and stuff online until you have that. Because if you do, you're just filling up a bucket that has all of these holes in it. Make sure you've got a solid bucket to fill leads in before you actually start paying money to do it. Cool? That's the biggest takeaway from that. Have a sales funnel. You need a sales funnel to collect all these leads. Okay, so now we have all this thing. But I think Scott said it earlier to me. We were joking, like, just because you built it, Field of Dreams was an awesome movie, not a great marketing strategy. Just because you built the thing doesn't mean people will come. So you need to, once you've built it, don't think that you've made this amazing sales funnel, like, man, I just start making all this money. No, you have now created a process for yourself that you can now enter people through those different relationship stages so you can take them from not knowing who you are to becoming that super fan customer. So we have to do things to fill the sales funnel. These last steps I'll go through a little bit quicker on here for you guys. With filling your sales funnel, kind of comes down to 2 things. You're either paying for it with money, paying for it with your time. So there's paid ads and there's organic. Organic can be things like social media. It could be networking events like this. It could be somebody walking into your business and facility. You didn't have to pay for somebody to see that message, okay? Then there's paid things. There's the paid traffic on social media where it's like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, pay-per-click ads on Google, LSA ads on Google, billboards, radios, things that you are paying to put messaging in front of somebody. I personally think too many businesses rush into doing paid ads until they have a solid sales funnel and they make sure that they have a solid organic strategy. I think paid ads should be used as an addition or a supplement, and there's a proper order of how I think small service-based businesses specifically should attack all of this stuff. So whenever if I wanted to start, I built this amazing sales funnel. If I wanted to start filling this sales funnel, I would personally start with organic. So I'm going to start by, again, building out all of my digital storefront. So don't think of your website as an afterthought or a secondary location or this sales funnel. This is your digital storefront, your digital presence. Your website and your digital profiles should represent you, the level of service that you provide, and the professionalism that you guys have. Everybody that's in this room is an expert at what they do. They're the top of their field, but does your digital presence reflect that? Because from a customer standpoint, whenever they go to your website, they don't know what's in your head. They don't know your experience. They don't know the level of success that you've had with other clients. They only know what you show them and you allow them to see. And unfortunately, too many business owners, they were getting started, they're bootstrapping it. I love it. Hustle, grind, all of the things. They had a neighbor or cousin or my nephew was able to build websites, so he made it for me. Your business has grown, but you didn't catch up on the digital side. So your business still looks like it's in its infant stages, like you really don't have this expertise that you built over the years. And customers, whenever they come there, and even if you're doing paid or organic ads and they come to your website, that's their perception is reality. That's their perception of your business, is how you're looking in the digital world. So whenever we are starting to fill our sales funnel, we also need to think about that same exact thing from a social standpoint. I think that there's two things that you need to do for your building out this organic social sales funnel. First thing is making sure that there is a consistent, we talked about the branding, making sure that the social profiles reflect the branding of the website. So colors, logos, fonts, messaging that we're using, everything should be consistent. If we find a social profile that is one branding and we go to the website and it looks completely different, the customers are going to think that there's something off and it's not going to resonate with them. The other thing with it is think about your social profiles as your digital storefront. If a customer walked up and there was to your physical location and there was dust all over the windows, it didn't look like anybody had been there for several years, the door's locked, sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not. That's the exact same perception people will get whenever they look at your social profiles. If they come on and it's not all the way filled out, it doesn't represent your professionalism that you haven't posted anything for 2 years, and then before that it was like another year, and it's just been inconsistent, and you're not consistently showing up. I'm not saying you have to post every day, but from a customer state of mind, if they're looking to do business with somebody, they want somebody that they can count on that's reliable. So if you're not actively showing up with your business in the digital world, it's really going to hurt the trust that they're building with you in the real world.
Yeah, that's awesome. The reason I have Sean here, not just because he's my best friend, but he's a marketing guy that actually has a successful business. I run into too many marketing people in the world that are trying to show you how to get leads, and they don't have any leads. They're telling you they can build you $1 million business, and they're making $200,000.
Yeah.
Okay? So Sean has actually done this over the last year. So, and this is great stuff. But tell them, how are you getting leads? Because you're actually doing what you're telling them to do. Give them some specifics of what Sean Garner is doing right now to drive traffic to that website that you walk them through.
Okay. I'll show you the magic trick. So, like I said, I am not a fan of paid ads. We run 0 paid ads for all of our businesses that we own. We run a few paid ads for a few clients, but there's an order that we do it in a certain structure. So for me, I'm a big fan of organic content. I love communicating with people. I love just connecting with people, creating content. That's not for everybody. That's okay. You don't have to be putting yourself out on social media all the time. You just have to show up and let people to know who you are. So for me, what I do, a big way how I drive traffic organically is through SEO, search engine optimization. The most common thing people think of with that is Google, but everything can be optimized through search. There's now even, you can SEO things on Instagram, your social profiles, your caption, whenever people are searching for things on social profiles, which is shown to be a huge increase in traffic over the past several years as more and more people are engaging with social. The hashtags you're using, the copy that you're putting in your post, all of that stuff is indexable by that specific platform. And there's also things like YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. It's owned by Google. I personally think, I'm going to share something that I think everybody should do, but it's going to sound overwhelming, but let me tell you what you should do. I think the best thing that everybody in this room could do, who's busy? Everybody's busy. Yeah, everybody's busy. If all of this creating social content and everything seems overwhelming, I think one of the best things that you could do is start a video podcast. Let me explain. So at first you're like, oh, I don't want to do a video podcast. That's overwhelming. When I say video podcast, don't think of I'm trying to create a Joe Rogan type amazing, like the world's largest podcast. Think of it as a content type. So I think every single business, even if it is a local plumber, could have and should have a video podcast. This is why. You need to reframe how you're doing the video podcast. It is not to build a big podcast. It is a content type. So by doing a video podcast, what you're able to do is you're able to better leverage your time and effort. So think about if you were just to do think right now if I asked you guys to create 5 short form videos and then like maybe a YouTube video each week, it would take you a lot of time. With a video podcast, what you can do is you can take 30 minutes of your week and you can now rip that apart into a ton of different content. You can have a long form video that's going to go on YouTube that's hopefully optimized for the search terms you're trying to rank for. You can then take that long form video and you can cut it up into several shorts that can go on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, Facebook Reels, LinkedIn. You then can also take the content that you discussed in that podcast. You can turn it into a blog article. You can use the transcript from that page. You can turn it into a podcast page. You can take the information you discussed on that podcast, tweak it down and give it 3 tips that you can send out in your email newsletter. You can take that, you also are obviously distributing it on Spotify Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music. So you take 30 minutes of your week to create a show, and now you've blasted out content everywhere. That's good for the content's sake, but here's why you guys should really do it. With having a video podcast, yes, it's going to be able to scale your time to be able to create more of this organic content easier, but your real reason why you're going to be doing that is to connect with potential dream customers and to leverage other people's network. You have a podcast, it's a lot easier to get on other people's podcast. So imagine I was a commercial plumber that worked in multifamily residentials, and I had the plumbing podcast here. It might be really difficult for me to get a lunch, get a coffee, get a sales meeting with a big contractor that is going to possibly funnel and give me a lot of business. But if I called them and I said, hey, with the plumbing podcast, we're going to highlight, people that are successful in the multifamily building business. We just want to highlight you and talk to you about your business and see how you've been successful. We'd love for you to come on here and just talk about what you do. And we'd love to interview you. Everybody's going to do that. Like JR said earlier, everybody loves talking about themselves. So it's really easy to get these people that wouldn't get on a sales call with you to come onto your podcast and talk about themselves. Well, now that you've done that, you're going to leverage their network. Because now that they've come on here and they've talked about themselves, you are now having all of that content that's going to be able to leverage that you're able to share on their network. So now their network is seeing your content and everything as well. So you've expanded your network that way or you've gotten them on your show to talk about themselves. So you've got to expand your network by leveraging their network. And now you've also built this relationship with somebody that you want to do business with that could funnel you business. So as you're doing this, it sounds overwhelming. But if you looked at the return on investment for the time that it takes to do something like that, I believe that is one of the best things that you can do to scale your time, scale your reach, and scale your impact and everything instead of just creating a bunch of, 30, 60-second shorts. That's one of the things we started doing for our clients is the video podcast production side because they're all busy. And so it sounds like it's a lot, but if you have a structure going into it, you're going to be able to leverage your time a lot better. And that's what we've personally been able to do.
And you're doing that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So you want to know how I fill my sales funnel? I create podcast content. I get on there and I just talk about different topics. I start to interview people so I can leverage their network. I go on other people's podcasts. What's that?
Organic.
Yes, all organic.
Lauren, you got a question?
What kind of content do you create?
A mix. So, because remember, think about why you're doing it. There's always a purpose behind it. We don't want to create content just to create content's sake. We're doing it because we're trying to generate leads and grow business. I don't care about how big my social media following is. I care about, am I connecting with the right leads and customers?
So Dan, you said something really important. You don't create content just to create content.
Do not create content just to create content. The only reason it's not social media for you guys. If you're in here, it is business media. It is a platform, a free platform, by the way, so we can complain about algorithms. It's free.
Like, you could waste a ton of time
creating
free. Useless content. And I mean, if you have all the money in the world and don't care, then go do that. But if you're trying to make money with content, it's got to have a purpose. Now you want to mix in who you are so they get a flavor of who you are, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And then you want to add to that, they know you care about them. So the only way you can do that is by exposing them to who you are. So you have to be real, talk about what's going on in your life, but it's got to have a purpose. So if you're a plumbing company, you're not going to get on there and talk about the recipes that you're doing every day. And you might every once in a while mention something you're doing, but it's got to have purpose.
Yeah, too many, that's why, the example I gave earlier about making the TikTok dance videos, there's a big difference between going viral and attracting customers. I don't care about how many likes or views the thing is getting. I care about, am I speaking to the customers? Am I positioning myself as an expert to them?
Catherine, you had a question.
We may not be getting a lot of long views, but we have a guy who just launched 5 weeks ago, and we've got 30,000.
Yeah.
And I'm new to that.
Yeah.
But I do all the time.
Exactly. Because the short form content, all the platforms are pushing short form video content right now.
Yeah, and so that's a side benefit. It's a really cool side benefit to doing the content. So it can have that purpose. And the other thing is that, you're not going to be great at this when you start. You're just not. And that's okay. Anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly at first. Right? So do it. Just get yourself out there, do the best you can, and make it look as good as you can, but you're going to get better as you practice. So just do it. But creating the content the way Sean's doing it works.
That can help, and we're talking about local SEO today, later this afternoon. That can be good and help. With it, it doesn't really help from a search engine optimization standpoint, and people aren't going to necessarily be viewing it. I think it's good to post at least 2 to 3 times a week on your Google Business Profile, whether that be an image, a video, a testimonial. But that is more so just to show Google that it's an active profile and you're with it. And it's more to help Google out than customers. Customers probably aren't going to view that.
So I interrupted you.
Yeah.
So you're on now we need to optimize that.
Yeah. So we've done all this stuff here. Quick one on this. Do organic. If I was to tell you guys the order of doing it, you're going to do organic. So you're going to make sure your social profiles are built out. You're going to have an organic content you're creating, whether it be a video podcast, short form videos, some type of thing to where you show up on a consistent basis. It doesn't have to be every day. If you can at least do once a week, do that, because something is better than nothing. The consistency is more important than the frequency, especially when you're first starting out. Consistency is more important than frequency, especially when you're starting out with social media. So think about your social media profiles as a TV show. If you turn on ESPN and it's SportsCenter, the next time it's ballet, the next time it's music videos, what's this channel all about? It's all over the place. If you can just show up to do a post every Monday at 10 a.m., that's your post. Whenever you want to get into paid, and then the next thing with that is you want to leverage SEO and content. SEO on your website and local SEO, which we'll talk about this afternoon. Then, if you want to get into paid ads, this is how you should do paid ads. If you're a service-based business, the very first paid ads that you guys should pay for and run is called LSA ads, local service ads. Those are ads that are only available to certain professions that are local, that are services. Why those ads are amazing is you only pay for the lead. You don't pay per view. You don't pay for click. What that is plumbers are eligible, roofing companies, lawyers, certain medical practitioners. So if people are looking for that service in whatever service area you are, you guys can Google Dallas attorney right now, and you'll be able to see all of the things that'll say Google guarantee on it. Those people are paying for what's called, or gym, or personal trainer, stuff like that. It'll show Google guaranteed. Those people are paying to be there. They're ranking above everything on the map pack and everything, but they're only paying to be there if you click call them. So they don't have, it's not like a normal ad that you're just paying for impressions. So it's the best way to start with paid ads because you're only paying for the lead, and it's for people that are specifically searching for your service you provide in your service area. So it does cost more per lead, but the conversions are crazy high. The next type of ad that you should start running and you should pay for is PPC, or pay per click ads. Those are going to be SEO ads that people are doing on Google. So people are searching for a search term and your business pops up for that. We won't get into too much of that, but I would run that. Then I would look at doing what's called retargeting ads. So you're going to have a pixel or something on your website, and you are only going to be showing social media ads to people that already know who you are and have been to your website. Then after all of that stuff is optimized and running, then you can start looking at doing cold traffic social leads and targeting people in your local market that way. Because by that point, you've got at least enough leads coming in to where you don't have to worry about testing, burning through some money, testing some different things with cold people that don't know how to use you. You've also probably gotten pretty good at organic, so the cold ads are going to convert a lot higher. That's how I would do that. Last thing, and this is, so we built a sales funnel. We started to fill a sales funnel. Now we need to optimize our sales funnel. So this last part here, guys, I'll go a lot quicker with it. I keep saying this over and over. We don't make marketing decisions based upon personal preference or emotion. We make marketing decisions and business decisions based upon data. There are so many data tools that are out there now for us to leverage, whether it be social stats, website traffic, heat maps on website where people are spending their time and everything. If we're not leveraging that, we're just guessing, and guessing costs money. We want to make these decisions based upon data that we use. So whenever it comes time to optimizing your sales funnel, we do that typically with data, automation, and AI. So what a mistake that I see small business owners make when it comes to this section is they try to automate too many things too early on in the process, and you don't actually know what needs to be automated. So what I typically will tell businesses to do is this is where we want to look at repetitive things that we're not doing, or we're doing inconsistently, or we're missing out on. So one of the first things that we would want to automate for people is when a lead comes onto the website, what's that follow-up process look like for them? If somebody books an appointment, what's the sequence that they're going to be automated and plugged into based upon how they are, based upon their appointment type that they booked and everything. Like I said, we're making all these decisions based upon data. So when it comes time to optimize this stuff, typically we want to do things based upon a traffic number or a time number. I don't want to just start changing things to change things. I want to give things at least 90 days, or it can be sooner based upon the volume of the traffic that the website's getting and the leads that are coming in. Typically, I don't want to touch things for at least 90 days. And I just kind of want to see how the data numbers are coming in. We have some clients that are getting, tens of thousands of website hits each month. Well, there we can test things a lot quicker. But if you had, 20 people come to your website a day, it's really hard to get really good data to know what we need to split test. So as we're looking at this and optimizing it, after it's been that 90 days or, thousands of page views later, that's where we're going to start looking at email sequence numbers for things like open rates, click rates, bounce rates, stuff like that. Like, are we capturing the information properly and everything? And so we're going to want to make sure that we're viewing that stuff, and we use that to tweak subject lines, tweak calls to actions inside of the websites and everything. I want to look at where leads are slipping through the cracks. So this is where I'm going to be building up a much more robust CRM process. So I'm going to create my funnel stages for people to where, okay, well, somebody came to the website as a new lead. They downloaded the lead generator. They booked a call, but then they didn't show up for the call. And we're seeing this repetitive thing happen. Or they booked an appointment, but service guys showed up and they forgot they had scheduled it. Well, that's something that I want to automate, because that's where leads are falling through the cracks and I'm missing opportunities. The other thing that I would start to do is start to leverage AI. So one thing that we have started to do is training AI chatbots for our clients over their business. So that way there's a lot of questions that people are probably asking about your products and service, like, hey, what's the cost? What packages do you guys have? What's your schedule? Well, now with AI and everything, you can train that AI based upon your business. It can read your website. You can feed it information. You can shoot a YouTube video and give it the transcript so it knows all about your business, how you would speak and answer questions. You can actually train that AI bot to answer a lot of the common FAQ questions that you have that are taking your time. Because when we get to this automation phase, this is where we're really trying to think about how do we do things at scale. So same thing from the content creation standpoint to our CRM, to our systems. We always want to be looking at everything that we do. And then after we've done this step, we repeat everything again. So we're always going back to our sales funnel and looking how it's performing. We're optimizing our words. How's our logos, colors, and fonts and our brandings resonating with people? Am I using the right words and calls to action for people? How's my header section looking? What's conversion rates on the website? I'm building that out, testing different lead generators. I'm going back through, I'm testing different content strategies. I'm going back through and reviewing and optimizing this, and it's just this continuous circle. I hope you guys realize having a sales funnel is important, but not just having the thing is important. It's making sure that once we build it, we're filling it. And then once we're even filling it, it's not just a, cool, I did that thing and I set it off to the side, but we're always going back and we're optimizing our business. You wouldn't ever build a storefront location or a physical location and never do any touch-up paint. You would and not do any routine maintenance on it. You're always going to be seeing how we can improve it. Man, can we change the billboard that's out front? Can we change our signage out front? Man, should we maybe move the front desk here so it's more inviting for customers? We do that with our physical location, but unfortunately with our digital, we kind of put it as an afterthought, or we think, oh, well, I've got a website, I'm good. Or I've got the sales funnel, I'm good. No. Well, yeah, exactly. You should always be going through this process. So if you guys can take anything, build a sales funnel. Then after you've built the thing, realize that people aren't going to come. You've got to make an effort to fill it. I think organic is the best way. And then I told you my strategies on filling it with paid. Then after you do that, look at your numbers, look at your data. Don't just guess what feels good or what I like doing. Use data to make the business decisions, because if you do these things, that's what will lead ultimately to the marketing domination. And because everybody that's in here, we want to see you win. You're all kingdom-based entrepreneurs, men and women of God. We want to see you guys thrive and win and dominate. Because remember, we're not dominating to put our competition down. We're dominating because we do things with the spirit of excellence, and God has called us to do these greater and bigger things. So let's be wise with our resources and good stewards, and making sure that we're leveraging all the opportunities He's given us.
Good stuff?
So I know that was a long episode, but hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of it and some things that you can do today so you can start putting in practice to grow your business. But if it seems overwhelming and you're a busy business owner and you don't have time for those things, we would love the opportunity to serve you and implement this strategy for your small business. Click the link down below, go to SeanGarner.co and schedule your free call with me so we can hear more about your business and see how we can serve you so you can grow your business and dominate online.